All right, so are you ready to dive into something pretty cool today?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to be talking about this idea of the student mindset, and
Oh,
not like literally going back to school or anything.
yeah,
The
yeah.
idea of keeping that kind of attitude of learning and growth throughout your life.
I love that.
And we're going to be looking at some excerpts from the book Become a Student.
Okay, cool.
And specifically, we're going to be focusing on this story of Kirk Hammett from Metallica,
Oh, wow. Okay.
which is pretty interesting story. I think you're going to find it fascinating.
I'm intrigued already.
So picture this.
Okay.
You're in the early 1980s.
All right.
You're a young musician.
Yeah.
You get the call to join Metallica.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, this is like the dream, right?
Dream gig.
Yeah, you're on top of the world.
Top of the world.
So what do you do next?
I don't know. Hit the road party.
Well, Kirk Hammett decided to take guitar lessons.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Guitar lessons? He's already the lead guitarist of Metallica.
I know.
One of the biggest metal bands ever.
I know, it's crazy.
That's incredible.
But that's what he did. He knew even at that level he could still be better.
Wow.
And he sought out this guy, Joe Satriani,
Oh, wow. Joe Satriani.
to like really refine his skills.
I mean, Joe Satriani's a legend in his own right.
Oh, yeah. He wasn't just like some, local guitar teacher.
No, not at all.
This is Joe Satriani.
Yeah, he became a virtuoso, like insane guitar technique. And so Kirk, who's already a killer guitarist, goes to him for lessons.
Right after joining Metallica.
Wow.
It's pretty wild.
That's dedication.
It really is.
So what did Satriani see in Kirk? Like, was it just raw talent?
Well, that's the thing. Satriani actually said talent wasn't the issue.
Really?
Kirk was already a beast on the guitar.
Okay.
What he needed was structure. He needed like a deeper understanding of the fundamentals.
Okay, so it's like knowing how to drive versus understanding how the engine works.
Yeah, exactly. Like he could play,
Mhm.
but he didn't necessarily understand the why behind it.
I-
And that's what Satriani helped him with.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was about taking it to that next level, not just relying on natural ability.
Yeah.
And Kirk was all in.
So how long did this go on for?
He trained with Satriani for 2 years.
2 years.
Weekly lessons.
Oh, wow.
Strict expectations.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Especially with everything going on with Metallica at the same time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were recording albums,
Yeah.
but he made time for these lessons.
He was committed.
He was totally committed.
Wow.
And it obviously paid off.
Oh, yeah.
He went from being a great guitarist to a legend.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear it in his playing.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
incredible.
So this whole idea of a student mindset, it's not just for musicians, right?
Right.
I'm starting to see how this could apply to like pretty much anything.
Yeah, you're getting it?
Like think about it, a lawyer, a teacher, a chef.
Mm-hmm.
They all need to be constantly learning and adapting to be the best.
Absolutely.
But how do we like make sure we're always pushing ourselves to learn like that?
Right.
I mean, it's so easy to get comfortable, right?
Yeah, totally.
Like you reach a certain level of success and you think, okay, I've made it.
Yeah, I'm good.
I can just coast now.
Yeah, you get complacent.
Right, exactly.
So how do we fight against that?
Well, the book talks about this really cool concept called the plus minus equal philosophy.
Plus minus equal.
Yeah, and it was developed by Frank Shamrock.
Okay, I know that name.
Yeah, he was an MMA champion.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
And it's all about surrounding yourself with people who are better than you.
Okay, the plus.
Exactly. And then those who are less experienced.
The minus.
Yeah, and then those at your level.
The equal.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're constantly learning from those above you,
Right.
teaching and solidifying your knowledge with those below you,
Mm-hmm.
and getting that healthy competition from your peers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a constant feedback loop.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But isn't there a risk there?
What do you mean?
Like constantly comparing yourself to others, especially with those in the plus category?
Could that actually hinder learning if you get discouraged?
That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You want to be inspired and challenged, but not to the point where it's paralyzing.
Right. You don't want to get overwhelmed and just give up.
Exactly.
So how do we find that balance?
Well, I think that's where self-awareness comes in.
Okay.
You have to know your own tendencies, your triggers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you're someone who gets easily discouraged, maybe you approach the plus category a bit more cautiously,
Okay.
focusing on learning specific techniques rather than comparing yourself overall.
So like don't try to become them, just learn from them.
Exactly. Pick and choose what works for you.
Yeah, I like that.
So it's all about being strategic and knowing yourself.
Right. And you know, it makes me think about something else that can really sabotage learning.
What's that?
Ego.
Ah, yes,
An
ego.
ultimate learning killer.
It really is.
It's that voice in your head that says, I'm already good enough. I know enough. Ugh, I hate that voice.
Right.
It tricks you into thinking you've arrived.
And that's when you stop growing.
Yeah, you become stagnant.
You get stuck.
Right.
It's funny, the book actually quotes the Stoic philosopher Epictetus.
Okay.
And he said, "It is impossible to learn that which one thinks one already knows."
Wow, that's so true.
Right.
The minute you believe you're the expert, you stop being the student.
And you close yourself off to feedback,
To new ideas.
to the possibility of being wrong.
Yeah, you build a wall around yourself made of pride and fear.
It's like a prison keeping you stuck in your own little bubble.
Yeah, and think about it. History is full of examples of individuals and companies that failed because they became too arrogant, too convinced of their own infallibility.
You're right, they stopped learning, they stopped adapting, and eventually the world just passed them
It
by.
happens all the time.
Yeah, it's like Blockbuster ignoring the rise of streaming services.
Oh, yeah. Perfect example.
They thought they were invincible.
Right. Their model would never go out of style.
And look what happened. So how do we fight against that? How do we cultivate a student mindset and keep that ego in check?
Well, it starts with recognizing those ego-driven thoughts.
Okay.
When you feel yourself getting defensive, resisting feedback, or unwilling to admit you might be wrong, that's a sign to pause and examine those thoughts.
So it's all about self-awareness again.
Right, shining a light on those dark corners where the ego likes to hide.
But what happens when you do become aware of it?
Yeah.
It seems like that could be pretty uncomfortable.
You're absolutely right. It can be very uncomfortable.
So then what?
But here's the thing. True growth often requires us to embrace that discomfort.
Embrace the discomfort.
Yeah, it's in those moments of vulnerability when we're willing to admit we don't have all the answers that real learning takes place.
That's a really interesting point.
Yeah, it's not always easy,
No, it's not.
but it's necessary.
So discomfort is necessary for growth.
I think so.
But how do we know?
How do we know what?
How do we know if it's like productive discomfort?
I see.
The kind that pushes us to learn, or if we're just pushing ourselves too far to the point of burnout or discouragement?
That's a great question, and one that deserves careful consideration.
Yeah.
It's about finding that sweet spot, the challenge that stretches you without breaking you.
I like that.
And it's different for everyone.
Right, of course.
What might feel like productive discomfort for one person could be completely overwhelming for another.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's about knowing yourself, your limits, and your learning style.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's also about having the right support system.
Oh, yeah, good point.
People who can encourage you and provide guidance without judgment.
Yeah, like those plus people we were talking about.
Exactly. They can be incredible mentors, but it's important to choose them wisely.
How do we do that?
Look for people who are not only skilled, but also patient and encouraging.
Okay.
People who are willing to share their knowledge and help you grow, not just show off how much they know. So it sounds like having a student mindset isn't just about being willing to learn, it's also about creating the right environment for learning.
Yeah, I like that.
Surrounding yourself with the right people,
Yeah.
seeking out the right resources,
Mm-hmm.
and most importantly, cultivating the right attitude.
What do you mean by that?
An attitude of humility,
Okay.
curiosity,
Yeah.
and willingness to embrace discomfort.
Which we know is important.
It is.
So, I'm fascinated by this idea of the teacher appearing when the student is ready.
Yeah, it's a powerful concept.
Can you tell me more about that?
Sure.
It's just a matter of being open to learning?
Well, it's definitely about being open and receptive to learning opportunities.
Okay.
But I also believe there's an element of actively seeking out knowledge, putting yourself in situations where learning is likely to occur.
So it's not just waiting for it to come to you. You have
Yeah.
to go out and find it.
Exactly. Like if we're talking about Kirk Hammett, he didn't just wait for a guitar lesson to fall into his lap.
He went out and found Joe Satriani.
Exactly. He recognized that he needed guidance, and he went out and found it.
And that's something we can all do.
Absolutely.
Whether it's taking a class, reading a book, attending a workshop,
Mm-hmm.
or even just striking up a conversation with someone who knows more than we do.
Yeah, those informal learning opportunities can be so valuable.
It's funny how we often think of learning as something we do in school or through formal education,
Right.
but really it's a lifelong process,
It is.
and the opportunities are everywhere.
You're so right. Learning isn't confined to a classroom or a textbook.
No,
It's happening all around us all the time.
it really is.
It's in the conversations we have, the experiences we have,
Yeah.
the mistakes we make.
Yeah.
It's in the books we read, the podcasts, we listen to the documentaries we watch.
It's like the world is one giant classroom,
I love that.
and we're all students.
Whether we realize it or not.
Yeah, and the best part is we get to choose what we want to learn.
That's true.
what subjects we want to explore, what skills we want to develop.
It's empowering, right?
It really is this idea that we're not just passive recipients of knowledge,
Yeah.
but active participants in our own learning journeys.
I love that.
And that's the beauty of having a student mindset.
Yeah, it is.
It gives you a sense of agency, of control over your own growth and development.
And that's something we all want, right?
Absolutely.
To feel like we're in the driver's seat of our own lives.
Exactly.
So to bring this back to Kirk Hammett,
Yeah.
his student mindset didn't end with those 2 years of lessons with Satriani.
No, he's continued to learn and evolve throughout his career.
Yeah, he's experimented with different styles and techniques.
He's always pushing himself.
And that highlights something really important.
What's that?
Learning isn't a destination, it's a journey.
That's a good one.
It's an ongoing process of exploration, discovery, and growth.
And it's something we can all embrace,
Absolutely.
regardless of our age, background, or level of expertise.
You got it.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
Yeah, it's been great.
I feel like I'm starting to see the world in a whole new way,
How so?
like a vast landscape of learning opportunities,
I love
just
that.
waiting to be explored.
That's the student mindset in action.
It is.
And I hope our listeners are feeling that same sense of excitement and possibility. Because truly, anyone can cultivate a student mindset.
Yeah.
It's simply a matter of choice.
So as we wrap up this first part of our deep dive into the power of the student mindset,
Okay.
I want to leave you with a question.
All right, hit me.
What's one area in your life where embracing a student mindset could unlock new levels of growth and success?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Think about it.
Okay.
What's one thing you've always wanted to do, but maybe felt too intimidated to try?
Maybe it's learning a new language?
Or starting a business?
Or writing that novel that's been swirling around in your head?
Whatever it is, remember this, the teacher will appear when the student is ready.
So be the student.
Embrace the curiosity, the discomfort, the joy of discovery.
Because the world is full of incredible things to learn.
And the journey is just as rewarding as the destination.
Couldn't agree more.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more on the power of the student mindset. So before the break, we were talking about how important it is to kind of embrace that discomfort.
You're right. That productive discomfort.
Yeah, but how do we know, like how do we distinguish between the kind of discomfort that pushes us to learn and the kind that just leads to burnout?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
I think it's about finding that sweet spot,
Okay.
Like the challenge that stretches you without breaking you.
Right.
And that's going to be different for everyone.
Of course.
Like what might feel like a good challenge for one person
Yeah.
could be totally overwhelming for someone else.
So it's about knowing yourself, basically.
Yeah, knowing yourself, your limits.
Your learning style.
Exactly.
And maybe it's also about having the right people around you,
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
like a good support system.
Yeah, people who can encourage you and offer guidance without judging you.
All right, so maybe this is where those plus people come in again.
Yeah, they can be great mentors, but you got to choose them carefully.
So what should we be looking for?
Well, you want someone who's not only skilled,
Okay.
but also patient and encouraging.
Right.
Someone who's genuinely interested in helping you grow.
Not just showing off how much they know.
Exactly.
So it sounds like having a student mindset isn't just about being willing to learn. It's also about creating the right conditions for learning.
It's about putting yourself in the best possible position to grow and evolve.
I like that. And, it makes me think back to Kirk Hammett again.
Yeah.
I mean, even though he was already this incredibly successful musician,
Right.
he still sought out Joe Satriani.
He didn't rest on his laurels.
Exactly. He recognized that he had more to learn.
And he was willing to put in the work.
And I think that's a really important lesson for all of us.
Yeah, no matter how much we achieve, there's always more to learn and explore.
I totally agree. And it's funny, we often associate learning with something formal like school or courses.
Right, we think of it as something we do in a classroom.
Yeah, but really it's those informal everyday moments
Yeah.
that can be the most impactful.
Absolutely. It's like you said earlier, the world is one giant classroom.
It really is.
And we're constantly learning from our experiences.
So it's not just about like hitting the books.
No, not at all.
It's about being open to learning from everything and everyone around us.
That's the beauty of it.
And I think sometimes we underestimate the power of those little aha moments.
Yeah, those little bursts of insight.
Like when you're struggling with something and then suddenly it just clicks.
It's like a light bulb going off.
And it can happen anywhere, anytime.
It's those moments that really make learning exciting.
And it makes me think about Kirk Hammett again.
Yeah.
He was already a successful musician, But by seeking out Satriani,
Right.
he gained a whole new level of understanding of his craft.
And that deeper understanding is what allowed him to continue to grow and evolve as a musician.
Right, so it's not just about acquiring knowledge.
It's about changing the way we think.
Yeah, the way we approach problems, the way we see the world.
That's the real magic of learning.
It's transformative.
It is. It opens up new possibilities, new perspectives, new ways of being.
I love that it's almost like learning gives us superpowers.
Superpowers.
Yeah, the ability to adapt, to solve problems, to connect with others on a deeper level.
And those superpowers are available to everyone.
How so?
All you have to do is embrace that student mindset,
That willingness to be curious,
to be open to new ideas.
to be wrong sometimes.
Exactly. Because that's how we learn.
It's a journey that never really ends, does it?
No, not at all. And that's the exciting part.
Because there's always something new to learn.
Always something new to discover.
The world is full of mysteries.
And the more we learn,
The more we realize how much we don't know.
isn't that amazing?
It is. It's kind of humbling.
Yeah, it keeps us grounded.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into the power of the student mindset,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with a question.
Okay, shoot.
What's one area in your life where embracing a student mindset could unlock new levels of growth and success for you?
That's a good one to ponder.
It could be anything, really.
Yeah, a new skill you want to learn,
A relationship you want to improve,
a challenge you want to overcome.
or whatever it is.
Remember, the teacher will appear when the student is ready.
So be the student.
Embrace the
The
curiosity
comfort, the joy of discovery.
because the world is full of incredible things to learn.
And the journey is just as rewarding as the destination.
You know, it's funny, we were just talking about how learning can happen anywhere.
Yeah, outside the classroom.
Exactly. And it makes me think about how we often associate learning with, like, being a kid.
Yeah, like it's something you do in school and then you're done.
Right. But really, it's those informal, everyday moments that can be the most impactful.
Totally. It's like those conversations you have with friends or family. Yeah, or like diving down a rabbit hole on the internet.
Oh, yeah. Or even just messing up a recipe and figuring out why it went wrong.
Exactly. Those are all learning experiences.
And they can be so much fun.
They are. And I think sometimes we underestimate the power of those aha moments.
Yeah, like when something finally clicks.
Right? And you're like, oh, I get it now.
It's a little light bulb going off in your head.
It really is. And it can happen anywhere, anytime.
It's those moments that really make learning exciting.
And it makes me think about Kirk Hammett again.
Yeah, what about him?
Well, he was already a successful musician.
Right, one of the best.
But by seeking out Joe Satriani, he gained a whole new level of understanding of his craft.
And that deeper understanding is what allowed him to keep growing as a musician.
Right, so it's not just about learning new techniques or acquiring knowledge.
It's about changing the way you think, the way you approach problems, the way you see the world.
That's pretty powerful.
It's transformative.
It really is. It opens up new possibilities.
New perspectives, new ways of being.
I love that. It's almost like learning gives you superpowers.
Superpowers, I like that.
Yeah, the ability to adapt, to solve problems, to connect with people on a deeper level.
And those superpowers are available to everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah, all you have to do is embrace that student mindset.
That willingness to be curious.
Open to new ideas.
And okay with being wrong sometimes.
Exactly, because that's how we learn and grow.
It's a journey that never really ends, does it?
Nope, and that's the exciting part.
There's always something new to learn.
Always something new to discover.
The world is full of mysteries.
And the more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know.
It's true. It's kind of humbling.
Yeah, it keeps us grounded.
This deep dive has been incredible.
I've enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us
My pleasure.
and for helping us explore this whole idea of a student mindset.
Anytime.
And to our listeners, I hope this has inspired you to embrace the student within you.
Yeah, go out there and learn something new.
Remember, the journey of learning is a lifelong adventure. It really is.
So stay curious
Just open.
and keep those minds growing.
That's what it's all about.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.